we waived injured defensive back Bryce Thompson. Today, with the schedule the way it is today, was back to more of an A schedule. We got a lot of situation work done. We got run play action. We got a whole third down period, 2 different red zone periods. And then quickly tomorrow we shift really the focus to being more on Arizona. Any questions?
Sean, do you still plan to treat it, like you said, a traditional third preseason game and play?
Yeah, you know what? We're going to meet today as a staff. There's some positions I'd like to do that with, and then there's others just based on where we're at, either health-wise or depth-wise, where we have to be somewhat flexible. So we'll go through the roles. We'll have a meeting tonight, kind of go through how we want to handle the game, and then kind of make our decision and then work on that tomorrow.
And how do you want to treat quarterback?
We're gonna discuss it tonight. I've got a few thoughts, but I don't want to be early with what I'm thinking.
Sean, Mike Martz here, is he just...
Yeah, listen, he, gosh, I've known him forever. I never had the chance to work with him, but he was a part of so many really good offenses. And last week, put a call into him, and he's going to spend a few days with us. There's a few principles that I want him to really work with us on. So he'll be kind of sitting in on offensive meetings, being able to look at tape, and there's a bunch of us that, I think can learn from having him for a few days. He's one of the better offensive coaches our league's seen, and so it's good to have him out here today.
How did that mutual friends, how did something like that come to
I just picked up the phone and got his number. I shot him a text, is this still your number? And you're living in San Diego, and I said, hey, I've got a couple ideas, see what you think. And the whole time I'd said to the staff, someday I hope when I'm his age, someone asks me to come to camp and spend a few days. But no, there was a stretch. Obviously Brian Young played for him. There was a stretch where I was in New York, and it was a little bit coincidence, but it seemed like we played the Rams every year for about 3 years, and part of it was scheduling. And man, they had, everyone was studying their offensive film. Obviously, they set a number of records offensively, and so whether it's like, how'd they use Falk in certain situations? Is there something that we can do with Alvin that we're not doing currently? Is there something we can do with, our play action? If there's one or two ideas that we can apply to our team this upcoming season that fits us, then it's worth it. And he's exceptionally smart. Just having him watch practice and make observations, it's pretty impressive.
Is the depth getting particularly challenging at a couple positions like tight end and defensive?
Yeah, look, and then hopefully we'll have a better field by tomorrow with some guys. But yeah, I think so. The other night we had a couple players have to play, 40 snaps. We got a little thin at corner. Those guys were that latter group was gassed by the end of that game, and so that's always the challenge sometimes in preseason when you have a full roster, but you're trying to hold certain players. Then somewhere someone has to pick up those snaps.
How are you feeling about the depth at cornerback? Obviously, Ken hasn't been out here the last couple of days. Where are you sitting?
Yeah, well, the other night it was tough. Now, we were sitting a few guys, but we're constantly looking at it. I think this 53 cut down, which takes place next week, I think you'll see a number of teams, involved like they are every year, and we'll pay close attention to. It's the message you're always talking to players about. If you're just looking at your position group and counting the numbers, you can be somewhat short-sighted. That you're really looking at everyone at that position across the league, and then in some cases, if you're making it as a special teams player, as a receiver or defensive back, you might be competing against a linebacker who's going to. So, it's hard to do the math always if you're just looking internally. So I think, having a good handle on the other teams and what Mike become available, I think that'll be important also.
How do you weigh players who have been here all summer versus guys you kind of like that have been in another program until next week? You know what I mean? How does that weigh into the evaluation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, you're still, look, I keep bringing up the 06 example. We went into this preseason game in 06, call it the fourth one, and we had just traded for Shanley, and we had just made a trade, and Mark Semino came after the fourth. We had guys that started that season that we didn't have in training camp. We literally had them. And so that's going to be a challenge week 1 and 2, but your gut is like, over a period of time, are they going to be a better option? And so, sometimes that happens. And look, our league, you guys see it all the time. I mean, a player comes in on a Monday or Tuesday because of injury, and all of a sudden he's playing. And we're all kind of looking at what number is he, and so if it's a player that's been here, certainly that's an easier transition, but sometimes it's a player that hadn't been here and he's playing. And so I think you got to factor that in, and ultimately you're weighing, the talent, the intelligence, availability, all those things.
Sean, with the injury to Jalen Dalton, what is your take on Albert Huggins?
Yeah, look, it's one option, and so there's a position where it's an alert position for us, and we got to look at all these guys, that's a tough preseason injury for us because Jalen was doing some good things.
Sean, when you guys are making a decision, is there any more weight placed on games, on practices? How do you weigh?
Yeah, look, I think your games gives you a little bit more, because you're in a game environment versus unknown competition. I think it's all factored in, and yet, games obviously carry a significant amount because it's, a game setting, but usually if you're seeing it show up in a game, you've probably seen it. We've seen Marquez. I saw that a year ago, but we've seen his growth, that whole confidence, and we've seen his growth right in front of our eyes, right? And so last weekend for a lot of people was like their first exposure, but if you were really looking closely, it had already begun to happen. It just wasn't noticeable. Over the years, I've just seen that happen in so many different position groups and players, and it's always interesting to see. And so sometimes that game is what's needed, though, for that confidence. It's one thing if some guys in practice can excel, but for whatever reason they have a hard time going across the street into the stadium, and but he doesn't, and you want to see that constant growth with a lot of different players.
Hey Sean, I know it's early, but have y'all talked about any contingency plans with this hurricane that was possible top of the press?
No. In fact, this is the first I've heard of it. So, does it have a name?
No, but they said the conditions are right for it to intensify quickly, so it doesn't.
Where's it at?
Down by the Yucatan, I think.
It's like Sunday night, Monday morning, it may be here.
Plate's track to be west of the city.
That's like freaking months from now for me. If it doesn't have a name, I don't have a plan. But that's the first I've heard of it. Fair question, but we've dealt with that before, though. I think we do a good job with that. Obviously, we'll monitor it, and it's that season, so yeah. Anything else? Thank you.
Yeah, here's the, never mind. Here's the trash.
I mean, I've said it each and every year. I just haven't said it publicly, so I'm going to start off with Doug Miller being the man. That's the end of the press. Cool. I can get out of here. I get it, Sean. Talked enough for everybody.
So, Ken, where do you feel you're at right now? You ready to roll even without this last preseason game?
I think, we still got one preseason game left. My target is week 1 always. My target is the next upcoming practice. And we'll take full advantage of breaking down the film and getting better from that.
So am I ready? Absolutely. We got a little bit of game time touch this last game. I think we got a quick 3 series, 10 plays. So one of them series, I think we got a first down. We got to work harder than that. But that was best case scenario for our defense, the way we like to show out, and we got to keep that high standard, hopefully in the week 1.
Hey, Sean referred to the defensive interior defensive line as an alert position for us right now, I guess because of the availability of bodies. Can you recall it being like this between, off-season changes and injuries?
Hey, man, I mean, we all knew coming into this season, you lose Sheldon, you lose Malcolm Brown, we're going to lose, David Onyemata for the first little portion of the week, or first part of the season. These are things that we knew coming in. So, whether we're down in numbers or not, we have guys that we need to have play.
And Dalton seemed to have been doing well before.
Really well. Well, we'll see you next year.
So what is your take on Albert Huggins?
Big Huggy. I think that as an interior lineman, he plays strong. I feel like he's one of these power guys, and we knew coming in he was going to be a power guy. I do think that eventually, we're going to have one of our D tackles become a third down pass rusher. But maybe when Malcolm Roach comes back, we'll have that.
So what grade you give David Onyemata DN? Why you so sure?
David Onyemata is a superior athlete at any position you put him at. From nose to now 11 technique, he can do it all.
What do you like about that, though, when you're seeing him out there just...
I mean, the more you can do, right, is always been the name of the game. And I mean, for him to have adapted to being on the outside edge where you have more space, and I think I saw him do a Euro chop last game. I'm pretty excited for him. I think it may bode well if we ever decide to do it now, a 3 DN package. He could be one of those 3 DNs.
You're just really going to have to wait until late October to see it.
No doubt. Whenever he comes back, we know the power that he brings with him. So we'll be glad to have him back once we, I guess, lose him. I'm not even sure how those rules work. Is it a lot of practice?
So
once the regular season starts.
So he can practice right now.
Right.
Play in preseason games, but
Come season, he got to get out of here.
Tell me you don't know how this works in like year 10 or 11.
I don't really miss practices. Like even like they have to send me in, so I don't know how this works.
You know that people got suspended, right?
I work on what we got.
Or if you're like, I only see 3 feet in front of my face.
That's it. I worry about beating the man in front of me.
When Double D was talking about things he liked about you and the way you play, he mentioned something about you not really being a guy that attacks by eluding contact. He said you have a very specific skill set that allows you to kind of embrace contact.
That sounds like the beginning of a Taken situation. A very specific set of skills. But no, I mean I'm here for contact. I'm here for all this. I mean, a lot of DNs that I grew up watching, I thought they were finesse players. They always relied on their first couple steps, their speed or whatever. I always looked up to guys like Javon Curse was like one of my first jerseys that I had. I looked up to Chris Dolman, who used his phenomenal length at times. I remember even looking at you talk about Dwight Freeney too, even our class, Von Miller. I mean, these are guys that rely on their speed. I'm here for Mike Strahan later on in his career, where you got that combination of experience, wisdom, and we're here for these hands. I bring hands to work every day, and I'm here to bless somebody with them.
And what works for you in terms of that approach? I mean, you find that it can be sometimes more efficient just to work off leverage than it is to do a Tasmanian devil spin move? Or?
I believe Dan Campbell, now the head coach over at the Detroit Lions, said hey, we're going to have some guys run through somebody's face. And I feel like Marshawn Lynch probably reiterated that, talking about hit them in the face and again and again and again. Eventually, they're not going to like it. To quote two amazing people.
I don't know what to say to that.
I like that.
One-on-one.
How do you feel like the second game for you?
I think there's a lot to improve on, but overall, I think I did okay.
You feel like you made some of the improvements you wanted? You mentioned you wanted to make improvements after the first game. Like, did you feel areas of growth in the game on to get to?
Yeah, I feel like there's some things I did well, but still a lot to get better.
What specifically? Obviously, we can see how you're making plays on the ball when they're coming and your coverage on the film, but what are some of the subtle things that you realized you need to keep
just tackling better. I think I did a good job tackling, so it's one of the things I want to work on.
Is this third preseason game particularly important for
lot of run, get a lot of reps, do some things that you haven't been able to do.
Yeah, I think any game is important, especially in your young career. Every game, I'm getting more and more comfortable, so just trying to get better every game.
You would conceivably start this game on Saturday opposite Marshawn, and is that experience going to mean a lot to you? I mean, so early on, I mean, it's your third professional game. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I started the first 2 games too, but this is obviously every game is important, and just getting more of the reps, feeling like I'm getting more comfortable, getting more experience, so just good overall.
What have you kind of seen? What have you taken away from working, alongside Marshawn, the star, for the last couple of months to year to go?
Yeah, just how he comes to work every day, not letting up plays every single day, not being on and off. Every single day he's kind of locked in, so just trying to kind of have that same mindset and just kind of look at him and see the things he does as far as technique-wise, playing the ball in the air, just trying to take as much as I can from his game.
Is there anything, that's kind of surprised you that maybe you didn't know just coming in that you've seen from him?
He's pretty much as advertised, kind of came in, knowing he was a real deal, and then seeing him in person, the way he works, just kind of solidifies everything.
Also, a lot of people, obviously from the outside, would assume there would be a learning curve with you and didn't project that you might be ready to start week 1 as a rookie. What was your mindset and your confidence? Did you feel like that was a realistic possibility all along?
Yeah, I mean, just coming in, you never know what to expect, but just coming in, trying to get better every single day, take it day by day, making sure, today I'm better than I was yesterday, tomorrow I'm better than I was today. So not trying to look too much at, what does week 1 look like, what does week 2 look like, just kind of pay attention to today and making sure I'm getting better.
Were you concerned at all when you opted out last season that could mean you would have to have more of a ramping up period in your NFL career, or has that gone, or have you been able to, transition as smoothly as you hoped?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you sit out a year, there's definitely going to be some things that you have to come back and get used to. But for me, that wasn't necessarily in my forefront when I was making the decision. Obviously, there's a lot going on. But just coming back, just trying to make sure I can kind of catch up as much as I can, as fast as I can.
When you mentioned before that you were trying to work on your footwork at the line, where does that exactly kind of manifest? Is that with press coverage or what is that?
Yeah, press coverage, off coverage, but just trying to make sure I have clean feet, not taking any false steps, just things like that.
I know you can't go back and change it, but what would you say at this point were the benefits as well as the negatives taking last year off or off and out?
Yeah, I mean, the benefit, being healthy, I guess, would be one. Being able to work on my body, getting stronger, getting faster, getting more flexible, getting more durable. The negatives, taking off a year from playing football, not being in that environment, not getting to feel what it feels like to play in the actual game. But overall, I'm just happy to be here and just taking it day by day.
How valuable, good were the 2 preseason games even compared to the practices then, with that full speed, getting tested, that kind of stuff? Has that been?
Yeah, first time playing, in a while, a year and some change. So definitely to get out there, live bullets, and be able to make tackles, be able to feel what it's like to be in a game, that's definitely important for my development.
What was that experience like getting into the Superdome for the first time, on Monday?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was super exciting, looking up, seeing the fans, just kind of, realizing the moment, right, being in the Superdome, grew up watching a bunch of games on TV there, so to actually be there playing was cool.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's it.